Trust me, my voice. All right, I'd like to have everyone's attention, please. We're going to get this party started. And I want to emphasize, nice hat, by the way. I want to compliment you on the hat. First one I've seen since I've been back. How many? Raise your hand if you wore the orange and blue out here on played football for the Pontiac Indians at one time. Okay, I'm going to give you two words. Two words that will probably put shivers down your spine, and I'll never forget the look on the face every year when it started. And those two words were Steeler drill. How many of you guys remember the Steeler drill? Happily. Ladies and gentlemen, the Steeler drill, and the reason I bring this up is because John tried to cheat. The Steeler drill was done the Tuesday after we put the pads on, and after a long scrimmage. And what we did was, as part of our mystique, not only was a mystique, or the way we did things here at Pontiac, that you had to earn your decals on your helmet. You know, the very first day we ran something and you got your number on your back of your helmet. And then the first thing that you did, you tried to get at one of the lances on the side of your helmet, was that you had to run, we ran what we call the Steeler drill. And the Steeler drill, and that's exactly what John did when we started. Exactly. Yeah. After the scrimmage, which went 90 minutes, and it was a hot day all the time, our guys came out, stripped down to their shorts and shoes. Am I right, Mr. Tucker? Yeah, shorts and shoes, and they had to run 4 laps. They had to run in one at a time, in a certain amount of time, with 60-second break in between. And I don't know how many of you parents that were ever here to come out and watch it and cheer them on, or the cheerleaders were out here. We used to draw a heck of a crowd because it was a step into manhood. It really was. It was by far, it was a mental thing. Of the two things that we did, it was the easier of the two, but it had a bigger mystique. John always tried to get in the slowest group so that he would be able to make sure that he made the time. And Coach Hatfield always had to make sure that John was in the proper group, as we remember. Well, the first thing that came to my mind as I saw you people out here today. You know, there are some people in life who are meant to be doctors and lawyers and teachers and coaches. And then there are those guys who are meant to be workers. There's guys who are meant to, you know, don't mind sweating a little bit. Guys who don't mind doing a little bit extra. And, you know, trying to make the best out of what life has been given them. And to me, that's who John Koneski was. You know, it's just amazing. You guys who are in the class of 2006, it will be your next year's your 10-year, anniversary. You guys need to have a party. And John would have been 10 years since he put the uniform on and walked out here on this field. Now today, I want to celebrate John because I know he probably would want it that way. I think of John Koneski and I see a smirk. That's what I see. Never a smile, never a frown, always a little smirk because he always had something going. He never said a lot. He enjoyed a good time. I mean, after all, anybody had a nickname named Coon had to have a good time, especially in this day and age. He had to have the ability to laugh, and John was a great laugher. He also had the ability to know what fun is. And that's the John that I remember. I want to talk about John, the football player, a little bit, though, because I think that's probably why you guys chose to come out here. There are several great players in our school that wore the number 75. I don't know if you knew that or not. My very first year, you know, we had a guy who wore number 75, and he was John Roberts. Then Jeff Roberts, in 1993, wore number 75, and number 75 was a member of the state championship team. John Konecki and Jeff Roberts were two cuts out of the same mold. Jeff Roberts was a junkyard dog. John Konecki was a junkyard dog. John Konecki asked no quarter. Jeff Roberts gave no quarter. As a matter of fact, as I was thinking about what I was going to say today, and I thought of those two guys, I'm thinking, you know what? They would have had one heck of a match had they had to go through the Nutcracker drill. Another great drill that the football players remember. One-on-one, time after time after time. And it was so great. We tried to have our players wear jerseys that earned respect and responsibility. For example, there were guys who wanted to wear jersey number 1. I chose, in order to earn jersey number 1, you had to earn that right to wear that jersey. Number 13 was another, number 7 was another, and number 75 was a third. John Konecki got to wear 75 because he embodied the spirit of what that number entailed. He didn't know that when he got it. I mean, John got his number and that was the end of it, but in the back of my mind, I knew. John earned that right to wear that jersey. Now, as a player, he was a playmaker. He was a disruptor. Now, he probably did that at home. I mean, disrupted things, you know. He would run into things and knock people over. He became what I would call a self-made all-conference performer. A self-made all-area performer. And you just don't line up and do that, folks. You don't, because you have to have something a little special. You have to have that little inside that makes you want to do something that nobody else is willing to do. And you guys who played the game know what I'm talking about. And you family members who've got a chance to watch him play know that what he gave to us on Friday nights was just something very, very special. I know Coach Hatfield and Coach Young never had to worry when John lined up. Now, John hated offense. John, when it came to do offensive drills, John would try to go and hide with the defensive players. So he didn't want to be any part of it until we decided to put him in the backfield and put him part what we called F Troop, in which he got to go in the backfield and act like a star. He liked that. He didn't ever carry the ball. He got to knock somebody down. He liked to do that. We just turned John, lined him up and turned him loose. You see, football is a very, very challenging game. And someday I hope that you get a chance to play it. Because it teaches us so many things, and so many things that we talked about as Pontiac Indians here. Do what's right. Do the best you can in everything you do. Treat others the way you'd want to be treated. Those were our 3 rules. Those are our 3 rules. And we asked 3 questions of our players. Can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? And do you care about me? And those 3 questions and those 3 rules are something that the guys can take with them when they get out. And obviously John was able to do that. Also like that. The bigger the challenge, the better he liked it. He loved going up against Josh Brent from Central Catholic. I remember the night that Cody Strong decleated him about right even with that tire on a block, and John was on the sideline jumping up and down like a maniac. Josh Brent, who got to play with the Dallas Cowboys before he got stupid. The better he liked it, the better he played. John liked getting dirty. John liked getting physical. John liked everything about it. When he was done playing, when he walked off his field for the last time, John knew that he had done everything. John was a Pontiac Indian football player. He just did his job as well as he could. And that's really all you can ask of anybody. It really is. I believe the best tribute, and I told Nicole this, I know that people have been talking, I came up with this kind of idea that maybe you guys can run with. You don't have to do it, but I think this will work. Jeff Roberts, the other guy who wore number 75, who played for the state championship team, also was another young man who died early. He died in an accident about, I think, 5 years ago. So this is the second one. I think the best tribute to John, the football player, is what you're doing today. Wear these shirts. Wear them. Wear them and let everybody know. You don't have to say the word you get around as to who had this number. Keep that memory alive. I think that's the best thing you can do for her. I think that's the best thing you can do for the family. And I know moms and dads, when you walk around town and you see the shirt, you know that that means it's something special. When Jeff Roberts passed away, this is what we did. Pat Christopher was another one. Pat Christopher was a player who unfortunately died at a very early age. Pat Christopher, what we did was we took his number and we put it on everybody's helmet. And I think this is something that Coach Casson can do with this year's football team, because they need to know who John Konecki is. They need to know. They're going to put a number on his helmet, on their helmet this year, and they're going to have that on there. And hopefully this year during the season, whether it's at homecoming or game one or whatever it is, that we have the family out here and we remember in a moment of silence for John. It's the same thing that we did for the other guys that were going along that way. When Pat Christopher passed away, we named the Offensive Lineman Award that we give out every year, called the Pat Christopher Offensive Lineman Award, in his honor. I believe that what can happen is that we take both these young men who wore the same number and give it to the Defensive Lineman of the Year Award and call it the Roberts Konecki Award, or the Konecki Roberts, or whoever, lawyers, or whatever you want to call them. I think that that would be the best thing, that would be a great tribute, because every year that name would live on with these kids and they would know what we're talking about. Jeff and John were two cuts from the same mold. They really were. But when I think of John Konecki, I know this. He's a Cubs fan, thank God. Maybe we're one step closer. Got to beat those stupid idiots in St. Louis, though. He's a Blackhawks fan. God love him. He made sure that we got our third Stanley Cup. He was a tremendous fisherman. He was a husband. He was a father. And above all, he was a Pontiac Indian, the way that we decided to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we will not forget him. And at this time, we please hold a moment of silence in John's memory, asking to look down on you and keep you in his thoughts and prayers. And keep his family in mind. Amen. Is it time to call? Okay, now we gotta wait till Mom gets home. She's ready. She's got the treat. Now you can't let the kid go though. That would very good. All right, then all you football guys, get on the track. If you're gonna get to run, no, I'm just. All right, well, whatever you say. Okay. Count of three.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, that one didn't go anywhere. Hey Donna, I see your clump on it.
I think it's kind of appropriate to define toward you high and Catholic.
You were playing one in your house. Oh. Right.